So hello and welcome to You So You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a drop spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else that takes a crafty fancy. But today we're having a little look at some seasonal patterns, so grab a brew, put your feet up and let's get started. So welcome back to any returning viewers, and to any new viewers a very warm welcome to you. Now, as I mentioned at the opening to the video, we're looking at seasonal patterns today. So in my case that's Christmas, but obviously there are other winter festivals going on at this time of year. Now we're going to be having a look at the LoveCrafts website to see what they've got going on there. Mostly because I know that everybody can access LoveCrafts and not everybody can access Ravelry. So I know that it's not going to cause people any problems, and they've got some nice features on there that I'm starting to play around with that I thought I'd share with you guys as well. Now I'm going to attempt to record my screen to show you how I'm doing that. Let's see how that works. And yeah, let's have a look and see what they've got. Okay, so when you get onto the LoveCrafts homepage, there's a few different things that you're going to notice. At the moment, towards the right on the headings of all the different sections, there's one that's highlighted in red. On the UK version of the site it says Christmas. I assume it does on the American as well. And then underneath that you've got all the different holiday sections that they've got. I don't know if in the US they've got a Thanksgiving section or not, but we're getting a bit close for that anyway. So you can see we've got Christmas, we've got winter, we've got autumn, and then we've also got some special occasion stuff in there as well. So they've lumped all that in with Christmas. So things like weddings and baby showers, that sort of stuff. Baby showers are getting a little bit more common in the UK, but they're not really a British thing. So yeah, there is a seasonal inspiration section which does have a Thanksgiving section in there on the UK side of things. Again, we don't really celebrate, well, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK. It's not a British custom at all. I like the idea of it, we just don't celebrate it. Then over above that, again in the right hand corner, you've got the three sections that are sort of personal to each customer. So you've got your basket, you've got your account, and you've got this thing called My Library. So if we click into My Library, so you've got a pattern list, so any patterns that you've bought or downloaded through LoveCrafts will appear in there. We've got a My Collection section, and we've got a Favourite section. I don't really use the Favourite section, but I do use My Collection. So if we click into there, it's going to show you the things that I've got set up as collections. So I've got 5 collections at the moment. At the top of this section you can see my picture, my name. I've got a designer flag on it. I do have a couple of patterns that I've designed up on there, but I'm not a super active, prolific designer, at least not at the moment. Then you have links to where you can find me underneath. Most people that I believe that sell on Ravelry as indie designers also sell on, or rather most that sell on LoveCraft also sell on Ravelry, as far as I am aware, amongst the indie designers, because you can actually upload your pattern into LoveCrafts from Ravelry, which is kind of handy. So it's got the links there to all the places of my Instagram, my Ravelry and so on underneath the main profile bit, and you can see followers, following and favourites. I've not actually followed anybody yet. That's something I maybe need to one thing I probably should work out how to do. I believe you look up the person and click follow on them, but I haven't attempted it so far. So if there's somebody whose patterns you like, you might want to follow them, same as you do on Ravelry. You can set up the searches on Ravelry. On LoveCrafts you could just follow the person. So there's that, and then underneath that we have patterns that I've got available on LoveCraft in one section. As I say, I'm not a prolific designer, so we've got the 3 there. Any projects that I may have uploaded onto LoveCrafts, as you can see, I haven't done that so far. I do keep my projects uploaded on Ravelry because I already had that in place when LoveCraft started doing this, and I can still function on Ravelry. So I haven't had the need to move my projects, and if I was to set up new ones here, I'd be duplicating the work of putting it in both databases. I'm certainly not going to go back and do the historic ones. So yes, I haven't got any projects on there. I may or may not at some point in the future put some on there, particularly as LoveCrafts does more than just knitting, whereas Ravelry is quite sort of knitting, crochet, spinning, weaving, fibre crafts. There's a bit more sort of sewing orientated stuff, and the patterns and kits that are available on LoveCrafts for cover a broader range of crafts. So I may in the future start putting stuff up as projects on LoveCrafts, I just haven't so far. And then we have this collections section. So as you can see, I've got 5 collections, and I find this kind of useful, both in terms of pulling stuff together for videos where I'm looking at patterns, but also in general for just sort of holding on to things I'm interested in. So I've got an autumny, Halloweeny section there, which obviously a bit late to do a video on that, maybe next year. And then I've got a section of things that I'm keeping an eye on in terms of cross-stitch and embroidery. The free cardigans and jumpers that I previously did a video on are in a collection here as well. And then I have a wish list. This is a mixture of patterns that I own and that I want to get, or that I'm interested in getting, but that I haven't necessarily made up yet. So that's what I've got in there. But it's not a I want to buy these patterns list. It's these are things I'd like to make at some point list. As I say, I do have some of the patterns in there already. And this is the section that we're going to look at today, the Christmas section. So as I say, LoveCrafts does cover a broad range of crafts. It used to be Love Knitting, Love Crochet. So they were 2 separate organisations. You went for one for crochet stuff, one for knitting stuff. It's now a much broader website, as you can tell by the sections at the top. So we've got knitting, crochet, cross stitch, quilting and sewing, paper craft, baking, and so on. Incidentally, if you can hear noise in the background, that's the tree surgeons out for the local council. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Okay, so under this Christmas set collection, I've got all sorts of things. It's a mixture of free and paid for patterns. So we've got things like this free paint box sweater. This is much like the one we looked at in my free jumpers and cardigans video. This one is with Christmas motifs to go on it, and all sorts of bits and pieces like these Ebenezer Scrooge stuffies and stuff. So we're not going to look at every single one of the things that I've got in this collection. You're welcome to look me up on LoveCrafts and browse through it. My collections are all set to public. And I've got 4 pages of things I thought, oh, that's quite nice. Am I going to make them all? No. Am I going to make some of them this year? Who knows? At some point, though, I would like to make some of these. So I've got a selection opened up for us to look at of various different projects. So let's dive into that. So first up, let's look at a DMC cross stitch kit. So LoveCrafts sells this as a kit. As you can see, it's basically 30 quid, and whatever the equivalent is in dollars. And this would be a free delivery because LoveCrafts has free delivery over £25. If you are somebody who does a lot of cross stitch and you like this design, if you've got the supplies already for it, check out the DMC website first, because DMC does have a lot of their patterns up for free. I don't know if this pattern specifically is, but it's worth checking before you spend out 30 quid, particularly if you've already got the fabric and the threads for it. If you don't have a big stockpile of fabric and thread, or you really want to do it on the coloured background, there is another colourway available as well. But if you particularly want to do it on this coloured background, then yeah, by all means get the kit. But yeah, check out the DMC website first if you've got supplies. I thought this was quite a nice design. It's all white, pretty much, with a little bit of gold stitching, but mostly white stitching. It seems to be mostly whole crosses. Obviously I haven't looked at the chart, but there's a little bit of back stitch going on in the gold thread and in the white thread, so it really stands out against that blue. So if you've got a colour theme for your Christmas decorations, this would work out quite nicely. My mum always used to do the dining room in blue and silver, so this would fit in nicely in there, for instance, particularly if you swapped out some of the gold threads for silver. But having the highlights in gold is actually quite nice, so I probably wouldn't do that. A little bit of gold is not going to make it too much difference to a theme. But yeah, if you're going for a blue and white theme, that works quite nicely. And as I say, that there are other colourways available. I think I saw a white and red one. So yeah, so I thought it was quite nice, quite simple. It wouldn't be too hard to do. And being 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres, if you only do cross stitch, it's plausible that you could get this done by this Christmas. If it was me, it might be done by next Christmas. I tend to only work on Christmassy projects during the Christmas season, so I don't tend to get them out until December. So it can take me quite a long time to get handmade Christmas stuff done and up for Christmas, but that's okay. I'm fine with that because I enjoy working on Christmassy things during that season. It's a little bit different if you're making gifts. If I was making gifts, then obviously I start a bit sooner, but they tend to not be specifically Christmas themed. I tend to do hats and gloves and that sort of stuff that can be used throughout the winter, or sweaters and things. Okay, so the next thing I thought I'd show you, this there's two versions of this as well. There's one that's in white. Again, I've opened up the blue one. So this is a downloadable PDF pattern. It is paid for, relatively low cost, but it is actually just the pattern, so you're not getting the supplies with it. But how adorable is this? This reads Japan to me. Obviously, it's not a Japanese designer. I'm not sure where Tatiana is from. And there, as I say, is a white version of this too. But how adorable is that? Little safety eyes to get. And obviously you could do the colours however you like. The white one I think might have a different colour, different design of hair. Yeah, the white one has a different hairstyle, and is being made in the sample in a fuzzier yarn. So you can see the different options there. So a quick look and see where Tatiana is from. I'd imagine she is an independent designer. Looking at the price of the pattern and the name, so she's Turkish. Or she's in Turkey, and yeah, she seems to do lots of these little dolls. So if you're into dolls, Pixie's kind of cute as well. So yeah, so she's quite an interesting one to look at. So what I think I'm going to do is pop up to the top and just click on follow. There we go, I'm following my first person. So yeah, so that's how it works really with the following and what have you. You can also see she's put some collections up and some projects up, so you can just click through and see what's there if you're following that. Okay, so the next project I wanted to take a little look at that is in the Christmas section on LoveCrafts. Again, it's a cross-stitch kit. So again, if you have the supplies, you may want to not buy the kit and put it together yourself. But I don't know if you can get this pattern individually. So I'd have to do a bit of Googling to find that out. But I mean, 20 quid down from 31 in the sale at the moment, so that's not too bad. There's not a huge amount of stitching in this project. There's quite a few different designs of advent calendars, actually cross-stitch advent calendars on LoveCrafts. Things that you would need to get if you were going to kit it up and maybe design something similar yourself. You'd need some sort of hanger. You'd need these little rings. Because a lot of these cross-stitch ones, they are little rings that you hook the advent prize, the advent gift onto throughout the month. So they're quite cute. They can come out year after year. This one I'd probably chuck something else in my basket to go with it to get the free delivery, because you're that close. You're only £5 off. But yeah, I like the idea of these reusable advent calendars. So if you've got little ones that are maybe not quite aware of advent calendars, this would be a good year to start making them, because by next year they're going to know exactly what's going on and you'll have it finished. Just saying. Although the amount of cross stitches in there, you might, if you get speedy delivery, be able to get it done in time for December the 1st, but that would be pushing it. So this would be one that I'd be looking at making for next year. But yeah, get it whilst it's discounted. Following on from that, we're going to the Crafty Kit Company. This is the company that I did Herald Hairdrada, the needle felted hair that I did a little while ago. So it's the same company, and they have this adorable little gnomes kit. So obviously it is paid for, but you do get everything that you need in the kit. And what I did like about this company's needle felting kit, certainly of the hair that I did, unlike other needle felting kits, you don't get the little polystyrene shape that it's pretty much impossible to get the felting to stick to. You make the shape from the scratch by needle felting the wool, which is a much more controlled way of doing it, and I found it a lot easier to get going on that. I still have kits with the polystyrene balls in that I haven't finished because I just can't get the felt to stick to the polystyrene. So yeah, I prefer having the wool on the inside. So this company, I recommend their kits based on the one that I've used. I haven't used the one. All of their designs are adorable, and yeah, I think they are much better thought out kits for people to learn to needle felt. I think these beginner ones with the polystyrene, you're going to give up. Well, that's my opinion anyway. So yeah, so this is adorable. It's a lot quicker than you'd think to get done, so you could conceivably get these made and up in time for this Christmas. Possibly not for the beginning of December, but certainly by the day itself. And if you're not celebrating Christmas, they're just adorable winter autumn decor. It's fine. You don't have to be celebrating Christmas to make Christmassy stuff. You really don't. And you won't be tied into when to take them down if you're not celebrating either. Leave them up all year if you want. Okay, so there are also free patterns available in amongst all the stuff on LoveCrafts. So this is a quilt pattern. So if you've got lots of scrap fabrics, this would work really well. So you download the PDF, it tells you what to cut out, how to put it together. It's designed for Michael Miller fabrics, but yeah, it would work in any scrap fabrics. And I like the way that you've got these little squares in the blocks, so it gets a pixelated effect. Obviously it's called the Christmas sweater quilt, so it's designed to look like a Christmas sweater. So they're calling it an intermediate quilting pattern. There will be a fair amount of cutting out that you'd need to do for that. This would be one that might take me a few years to actually get to the point where it's a finished quilt. I say this knowing that I have a quilt top upstairs that I made, maybe 7 years ago, but I've still not quilted. But, that one's not seasonal either, there's no excuse for it. So yeah, so I can see this one taking me a while, but once it's made, this could come out every year as part of your Christmas decor. I'm not 100% sure the size of the finished quilt because it doesn't tell me on here. So what I'll do is I will just download the pattern. Once I've downloaded it, it's going to be available in my library, so if I lose the download, I can always find it again. So that's handy. It works the same way as the Ravelry library. If you purchase or download a pattern through LoveCrafts, it appears there. So, obviously I don't want to go too far through the pattern on screen because I don't want to give away any secret sauce, but it is a free pattern. So 70 inches by 80 inches, so it's a decor quilt rather than like adult bed quilt. But yeah, it's a decent size. So I think so 5 inches, 5 centimeters is 2 inches. So yeah, it's going to be a decent size. I'll try and remember to put the conversion on the screen of how big that would be in centimeters for you. We have another quilting pattern available for free up next. This one I thought would be good if you've never quilted anything before and you're a little bit wary. I haven't been able to find the fabric that is called for in this particular pattern. It's designed for the Wyndham Fabrics panel that has the 4 panels on it to make these placemats. But placemats being relatively small, they're less daunting for somebody who's new to quilting. There's also going to be minimal piecing involved. So if you find a panel that has 4 big block prints that you like the look of that are about placemat sized, you'd be able to follow this pattern with that fabric. And obviously if you find the correct fabric, so much the better. But it'll give you a chance to practice the actual quilt sandwich and quilting and binding side of quilting. So that I thought was quite interesting as well. And yeah, a lot less daunting for somebody who's new to quilting to do placemats instead of a big wall hanging or a big throw type quilt. And I've got 2 more things that I wanted to show you. One, yes, it's a paid for pattern, but I have ideas. That's this Fair Isle knitted wall art pattern. So in this pattern you will get the designs, the patterns, the charts, however she's done it, specifically for the swatches that are shown in the image, and she's framed them, which is adorable. What a great way to use up swatches. So yeah, that may be happening. If you specifically wanted to do these particular designs, so there's a couple of colourwork designs, and then this is textured, twisted, stitchy, cabley, travelling one. Then yeah, get the pattern. You'll have the 3 of them. It'll give you a sense of what size to do for the size of the frames as well. So there will be useful information in there. But once you've done them, you can just run with it. Work your swatches to the same dimensions as these, frame them and decorate your craft room. How great would that be? So yeah, lots of ideas coming from that one. Obviously I don't want to take away from the person who has actually come up with the idea, so Girly Knits there. So yeah, absolutely, if you want those specific designs down, get the pattern and do those, and yeah, you can then use the dimensions, as I say, to riff off it and create your own. And the last thing I wanted to show you from this collection before you go and browse through it yourself is Vivacco Longtail Tits and Redberry bookmark. Now Vivacco do a whole bunch of kits, and I have no idea if I'm saying their company name correctly. They do a whole bunch of kits using this Longtail Tits and Redberry motif. So I put the bookmarks up because A, they're cheap, less than £10. So that's how you get your free postage on some of your other projects that are maybe not quite hitting the £25 mark. Stick the bookmarks in and you'll be over, it'll be fine. But they do have a whole range. So the bookmarks will be quite quick, and you could use them as gifts. Because they're small, they're going to be quite quick. You can also get from various suppliers little plastic sleeves to put cross-stitch bookmarks in to keep them flat and protect them as they're used. They're good for bobbin lace bookmarks as well. Not that I've actually bothered to get any, but I know they exist. But yeah, there is also this range of patterns. They've got framed pictures, or pictures for you to put in frames to go up on the wall. They've got runners. There's even a diamond painting. I don't think it's by the same company. There's a diamond painting kit available on LoveCrafts that uses certainly very similar, if not the same, source material. So you could have a whole collection of things with this theme up as decor dotted around the place. So yeah, so it's quite a nice selection of stuff on the LoveCrafts site. So yeah, feel free to look me up on there and give me a follow. As I say, I may at some point start putting projects up there. But I don't really want to duplicate work across Ravelry and LoveCrafts if I can avoid it, so it may not be the knitting crochet stuff. We will see. But yes, that's that for LoveCrafts. I hope it's been useful and interesting. Now, I aim to put a video up every weekend. I know I missed last weekend. That's because this bit corrupted and I've had to refilm it. Technology, isn't it great? But I aim to put a video up every weekend. Hopefully it'll be normal service from now until the end of the year. And I'd love to see you in the next one. So if you've enjoyed spending time in my company, do all the stuff down below. And I'll see you next weekend. But until then, happy crafting and bye-bye for now.